feel lonely. Oh no, the time can move so slowly. And in the distance I hear voices. Are they real or are they in my head? I'm lovesick. You got me lovesick. And I'm lovesick. You got me lovesick. And now I feel alive. Feel alive. Feel alive. Feel alive. And now I feel alive. So many times they try to change me, and every time it drives me crazy. And all the good times we had saved me. Are they real or are they in my head? I'm lovesick. You got me lovesick. And I'm lovesick. You got me lovesick. And now I feel alive. Feel alive. Feel alive. Feel alive. And now I feel alive.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 of 13 for this season's running of the International IndyCar League. This afternoon, we take to the Michigan Speedway here in Brooklyn, a new place for me, one that I have not covered a race at yet for the International IndyCar League. So this is going to be a very exciting one for me, definitely. We've got 95 laps or 190 miles this afternoon to cover around this 2-mile D-shaped oval that's renowned for its wide racing surface and multiple racing grooves. I'm sure that we'll see many that are going to be used this afternoon. Alongside me, as always, is Sébastien Kinder and broadcast director Julien Altena. And Seb, I think you may have a bit more experience racing around here at Michigan. I can't say that I've competed in an IndyCar around this oval myself. So what can we sort of be looking for to this afternoon?
Absolute cinema, Jack, because we are on what is best for high-speed IndyCar action, a D-shaped 2-mile oval with lots of possible lane to run in. So expect a lot of cars looking for that clean air, and with the big drafts and the big straights, it's going to be super fun, Jack.
Well, while our competitors are lining up on the grid, it sounds like we've got an absolute stonker in store for you today. But before we get things underway, as you can see, the logo in the top left of your screen is a little bit of a new one, or especially to me anyway. Today's Michigan 190-mile race is proudly brought to you by Concept Racegear. Whether you're tearing up the circuit, kicking up dirt in a rally stage, smashing laps at the Speedway, or dominating the kart track, or even flying across the water, Concept Racegear has the ultimate apparel tech and safety equipment you need to take your competition to the next level. They are the specialized motorsport experts, stocking an extensive range of premium gear for your racing needs. We're talking about elite world-class brand trusted by all of the pros, specializing in global leaders like SPARCO, OMP, Stan21, all brands that you will know of if you love the world of motorsport, alongside high-performance tech from MONIT, Rally Computers, and SPA fire extinguisher systems. These brands set the absolute world standard for quality, innovative design, and elite craftsmanship. When you are on the limit, do not compromise on your safety or your comfort or your lap times. It is at the utmost importance to demand the best, and of course have the best when you are in a world of competition. Gear up like a professional today, race to win. Head online right now to conceptracegear.com.au. That's conceptracegear.com.au, and this will be a name that we see in the top left of your screen throughout today's broadcast. But as the field take to the Speedway for their pace lap, Seb, take us through the grid.
The starting grid for today with Rodin Iftink setting a pole alongside Matthias Strauss, returning to the series after a few weeks of being missing. Behind them in their rearview mirrors, we'll have David Strid and Oman Lal, two Velocity racing cars in the top four. Pim van Gastel starts on the third row alongside Jason Lowe. In their rearview mirrors, they'll see in the fourth row Callum Ford and John Christensen. The fifth row will be occupied by Bryce Saucier and Mike West. The sixth row will be taken care of, will be Rick Lovison and Matthias Marcomini. Behind them on row 7 will be Manuel Esteban and Luc Dietz. On the 8th row, we'll have Matty Simpson and Noah Gill, but Noah Gill is EOL since he won last week. Milan Vogelsang and Dan Ench will complete row 9. Behind them on row 10 will be Ryan Bowles and Anthony Heisma. And the final row will be son and father of Brian Fiolas and Pascal Fiolas.
Well, look at that. You've got the father and son combination on the same row of this grid as the pace car comes down to pit road. That will be interesting to watch from the rear end of the grid. We've got 22 cars on the grid, and it's actually going to be Rodin Iftink who slams the throttle pedal to the floor very early, catches Matthias Strauss well off guard, and you're going to see there Aman Lal challenge to the inside already on Matthias Strauss to make it a Velocity Online Racing 1-2. Before we even get to turn number 2, Matthias Strauss is not going to be happy about that. No doubt, I'm sure he's going to be hot on the heels of these two to try and get things back on the way. He's actually going to go in the middle of three wide into turn number 3, and it's actually going to be Matthias Strauss that takes the lead away from Rodin Iftink, and then you've got practically everyone behind them in contention for second. What a start that was from Iftink, but then Matthias Strauss, the recovery of dreams that was.
Yeah, because again, I told you the draft is big here. This is not Hanford devised days of IndyCar. Some say that was the greatest days of the car series back then, but this is pretty good as we see them being single filed. But although, Jack, they'll still need to be ahead of the cars. They still need to use their tools because the dirty air will still take a beating on these tires. Also, that bottom lane is a bit flatter than the rest of the track. This is progressive banking, Jack. So right now they'll be down there. I don't think they'll be up there in the following 10 or 15 laps.
That's a very good point you make about that progressive banking. We mentioned in the pre-race show about how you can use the different lines around this circuit. It's a multiple groove racing circuit, so that's why you see so many cars sort of all over the place and not really running the same line. As we look at Rodin Iftink briefly there now on board with Vogelsang in the renewal number 26 machine, and you can just see how tight it's getting up there towards the sharp end of this field. That draft making a massive difference. As oh hello, who was that? That was Noah Gill, I think it was, in the 76.
Ghost Rider. That was Noah Gill.
He's making a fantastic run to the outside and sort of appearing and making a very, very good statement there and backing up our point of how strong that draft is. It was like he was in another gear up to 9th place from 16th is that 76 machine, not hanging about whatsoever, and he's going to be following Aman Lal, who's actually dropped 3 places in the opening 4 laps of this one, so he's got a little bit of work to do as we look now. The main movers are, we've got a bit of a tie. Callum Ford, who leads this one, he's up 6 from John Christensen, who's also up 6. And then you've got Matty Simpson, Noah Gill and Milan Vogelsang all up 7 places. And then Matty Simpson actually picks up another one to go up 8 places. So we've got some really big movers here, Seb, and it's going to be difficult to keep track of who's where.
Exactly, yeah, there's going to be a lot of change. And that brings to another point today, Jack. It's the pit entry. Michigan is, for me, one of the toughest pit entries out there on iRacing. And with those big packs, there's going to be shenanigans in the entirety of the race. As we see, Pascal Fiola's already down 2 laps. I guess he didn't take the starts.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame there for Pascal Fiola's. Maybe that was maybe he missed the grid button or something like that. I don't think there would be a true strategic reason to start from.
He missed the pit button, I think. He thinks.
Yeah, I would imagine that, as there was a bit of markings on the grass there on the front straight. I don't think anyone actually took a trip through the grass so far in this one. Maybe that was left over from qualifying, but it's definitely something that I wanted to bring up with you, Seb, because coming out of turn number 4 here, you haven't got the longest amount of time to get the car slowed down and get the car down into the pit lane. So how do you sort of do that safely without spinning the car? Because we've seen that a lot recently with the Indy cars, especially as they come off the banking onto that flatter racing surface. As we look at Bryce Saucier making a mockery of half the field, going around the outside of about 3 cars and ends up level with Van Gastel in 5th. He's going to snatch that one away and actually drop back to 6th. No, he's going to go back up to 5th, and this is going to be side-by-side running, and Van Gastel needs to watch out here because he's going to get pinned to the inside, and that's going to be no good for his tyre wear.
He's at the draft. So draft is big here. Also, no gurney flaps on these rear wings. As for what you said about entering pit lane, yeah, there's no sugarcoating it. You have to do like while the corners lifting and being smooth on the brakes. You don't want to overdo it to lock those tires or just go completely crashing into the pit entry. So that will be very interesting to see these drivers out there, Jack, negotiating those pit entries.
It's something that I also want to make a good point of. We've got a massive pack race here with 10 laps in and everyone's completely together. So expect during the pit window or pit cycles, we're going to see cars coming down in groups. This is something that I'm still fascinated by. Look at that on your screen, the heads up sort of pit graphic of the strategies that we've got today. We've got the 4-stop versus the 3-stop with 55% fuel. So that's, the cars are all limited to 55% fuel, so no one can physically put any more fuel in than that. And if you're taking the 3-stop today, we're looking at lap 24, 48 and then 72 to the finish, depending on how long you've been sat behind a car in front of you. And then we've got strategy B, which is the 4-stop. So that will be 22, 44, 66 and then 88 to the finish. And which one do you like, Seb? I would probably opt for the one that means you visit the pits less, surely.
Yeah, and it's easier to save fuel in those big pack race because, yeah, with the drive being so powerful, maybe you can go like map 2, map 3, map 4, and not being full throttle all the way to the straight. That's something you can easily do. Although that strategy hinges on you being in a pack and getting offset a few laps, that can make the difference, Jack. So this will be. I don't have a preference. It depends on on the execution of what I do, but will be interesting to see how these drivers manages. But right now we're almost halfway. We are halfway through the first stint, so time goes by quick.
Yeah, these laps fly past. We're looking at the average of about 32.5 seconds for a lap around this Michigan Speedway as we ride on board with someone that definitely knows his way around the front and the sharp end of these International IndyCar Leagues, the 004, Jason Lowe. He's seen that number at the top of the timing tower, towards the top of the timing tower, many times throughout seasons past in the International IndyCar League. He sits in second place at the moment, up 4 places, but that is nothing compared to our race leader, Matty Simpson, the number 3, up 14 places since the start of this race. So he's definitely made a statement early on. This is the man in question, started 15th, currently first. Look at that. The man from down under absolutely putting on a show in this one so far in that Monster Energy. The White Monster liveried car. Maybe he's had plenty of White Monsters before getting on the starting grid in today's race. But look at this, Seb. It's still such a massive pack race.
Yeah. It's still such a pack race, although these guys, they're not as aggressive as they were at the start. Right now they're saving a bit of the tires, their fuel, because maybe they want to do, again, that freestyle strategy we've been talking about, Jack. But yeah, see, this will be kind of like, I was a bit close with that Hanford device era of cars, because while you can make the pass, you have the tools to make the pass, you still gotta take care of these 4 little pieces of rubber on each quarter of the car. So expect maybe a bit more gaps being created at the end of this stint, although we have only 6 laps left, according to race strategies.
Well, I would like to think that the number 30 machine that's down 10 places, that is the purple Altena Autosport machine of Aman Lau, he's down in 14th place at the minute, and I would like to think that he is doing exactly what you described there, as that very machine comes flying past Mike West that we ride on board with at the moment. These fantastic onboard cameras brought to you by none other than the man on the broadcast board today, Julien Altena, as always, doing a fantastic job with all of these incredible onboard cameras, completely in-house made, as you can see here from the 360 view camera on board with Aman Lau, riding on the lower side as he makes his way past Marlon Vogelsang and Manuel Gomez Esteban, who I believe, it could be a different Esteban, but we've seen him in the Indy NXT Open, the official broadcast split that we cover sometimes. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, I think you are right. Manuel Gomez Esteban, that's him.
Yeah, so this is the first time I've actually seen Esteban in an IICL race. That'll be interesting to see how he gets on in this one, considering he's been so dominant in the Indy NXT official series that we cover on Saturday nights here on the Velocity Online Racing channel. And speaking of other broadcasts that may be coming your way, we've got plenty of action coming up. We've got the ICOS Euro SOF race that will be next up at Nashville. That will be on the 14th of July at 10 p.m. This is all in Central European summertime, just to give you a heads up as we see Simpson. We'll have to come back to that as Simpson comes down to pit road.
Wow, that's early.
So we were looking at 20 laps plus, and he comes out on exactly lap 20. So maybe running map 1 a little bit longer than those around him to make up those 14 places. As you can hear Seb doing some maths in the background, trying to figure out.
That's still going to be a A4 stop for him. So nothing out of the ordinary. And there we go, Jason Lowe.
Jason Lowe's going to try and come.
Oh, that was fast!
He's going to come down. That's a very, very quick pit entry. Nothing's coming up on the timing tower. It is actually a black flag for Jason Lowe, and the man has got so much experience. And the last time we did an IICL broadcast, he found himself in the interview room at the end of the race, and a simple mistake coming down pit road. You can ride on board here. He gets on the brake pedal, and yeah, look at that. It just looks way too quick, doesn't it, Seb?
It is. You sir are stopped, and you have to pay a fine, and that's a brutal hole, by the way, especially on a track like Michigan.
Ah, so easily done, Jason. He's going to drop way, way down the field as I'm looking now. Yeah, he's down 11 places already. In 17th is the 004 machine. That's going to be so unfortunate for him. He's now going to be praying for a caution period to get himself back on the lead lap as we now look at Callum Ford, John Christensen on your screen. This is the lead group. This is the Alzheimer's Association number 44 Nation machine. He's going to come down to pit road. Is he? Yes, he is. Is he going to stop it? He's going to be a little bit more on the cautious side. Gets that machine slowed down beautifully, and he's going to make his first stop, which should be pretty routine. No one comes with him though, Seb. So will he sort of find himself struggling a little bit more on the outlap?
That's he better hope that he comes out, but yeah, the problem is you only have like what, 1 or 2 cars that pitted before, and one of these cars got a black flag, so that's not ideal to be pitting alone.
Yeah, as we now look at this is Aman Lau in the Altena Auto Sport machine, and you can see there's a whole heap of cars coming down and locking fronts left, right, and centre. That is going to be Aman Lau, Callum Ford,
black for David Strid.
David Strid gets a black flag at the back of this group. That's going to be the number 48 machine. So he's going to be stopping in the pit box. Seb, we're going to have a look at this one. This is on board with Saucier actually instead. And wow, look at this. Squirming around to get the car slowed down. He does so. But I think that might have been Callum Ford that was getting all sorts of crossed up in front.
Oh yeah, that was a car we saw locking up in the background there.
You could see David Strid, he tried to be a little bit too greedy there. He slows down and lurches forward there. You could see the car slightly close the gap in front, and that was what did it for him. Maybe not pressing the pit limiter button in time, and he's going to have a painful, painful seat. A front row seat in watching everyone else fly past him, and he's going to join Jason Lowe towards the back of this one as Pim van Gastel, this is on your screen, coming out of pit road. He's going to lead the group of Martin Vogelsang, F. Tink, Matty Simpson, Noah Gill will be in there as well. He's actually going to come up behind a couple more cars, and as everyone sort of gets back up to speed, it all gets a little bit confusing.
And big thing, those 4 that pitted, they can be on that free start strategy, Jack. And look at the undercut of... Yeah, look at the... Julien, for once, we had the same thing in mind. Because look at the gap, look at how the undercut was powerful. I'm honestly surprised here, Jack.
Yeah, it's a big gap that Simpson's managed to pull out, although you can see there that he's had a relatively equal stop time in the pits. Well, you can't see it, you can on the live timing, and I believe there'll be a link for that in the description of this live stream, and it will be to App Engineering. They provide all of our live timing for us here on the Velocity Online Racing channel. But if you can see the pit times, it was a relatively similar stop there from Matty Simpson to Mark Amini. But Matty Simpson there coming out with an incredible gap of almost 2.5 seconds over that third place car.
I wonder if his strategy is just pedal to the metal and not even worrying about saving fuel. That would be very interesting. I wonder if he's in a pack of sorts, or if he's on his own.
He looks to be. He's got one car with him. I can't quite see who it is. We may be able to get a camera on him in the coming moments to be able to see who that actually is that's next to him as we look at Pim van Gastel briefly. I believe that is, that's Brad Fiola. So he's actually leading that little duo, so maybe they could be doing a little bit of swap drafting. I don't quite know how effective it will be around here, Seb. Maybe you can clear that one up for me, but I would imagine that it's more useful than going around by yourself.
I mean, still, if you're in a duo, the car behind you still pushes that air, as we see a little maneuver here. When you're by 2, you're pushing the air for the car behind, and the car behind also pushes the air, so you two are going faster than if you two were on your own. So that's still helpful. And by the way, ever since they came out of this like 5 laps ago, Christensen Marcomini didn't gain that much ground here, Jack, because they too are 2x2.
Yeah, you can see that white box that you see on the timing tower is a new feature that I've picked up on, and that is sort of highlighting what battle you are watching on screen. And as you look at the last 3 laps for Marco Mini, a 32.3, 32.3, and a 32.3. You're getting slightly slower, albeit by a couple of hundreds left, right and centre. But lap 29 for Matty Simpson, almost a tenth slower than that of Marco Mini, but then he picks up the pace again for 28 and 27. So it's sort of a relatively similar gap. 2.5 seconds separates the top 2 at the moment. We'll see how much the swap drafting will come into play, although Christensen is probably a little bit further back than Marco Mini would like to sort of get the swap drafting underway. And all he's doing really is bringing the likes of Van Gastel, Vogelsang, Eftink, Gill, Strauss, Saucier and the rest of the top 10 with him.
The bad news for these guys pursuing Simpson is that Simpson is already pretty fast, even though he's leading a 2-car pack. Look at the bottom of the tower. You see Heitzma and Dietz 28 seconds behind Simpson. That means they're not that far ahead of him. And that means Simpson will gain another 2 cars to his pack, and that means even more cars pushing the air together and creating more draft and more speed.
So we're right on board here with the Team Watson Racing. This is Matthias Strauss, a well-seasoned veteran in the world of International IndyCar League racing, and he finds himself right in the middle of things. So one mistake here when you're doing the best part of 200 and something odd miles an hour, as you can see, wow, who was that flew up the inside? I believe that was Dan Ench who comes storming through, and he's going to bring, I think that was Jason Lowe with him, who is still a lap down, but nonetheless, these two flying through that pack. And you can see Dan Ench has gone from, I reckon that was about 11th or 12th all the way up into 3rd place, right behind the likes of Marcomini and right in front of Eftink.
Hang on a sec, Jack. Christian was with Marcomini, wasn't he?
He was indeed. He's dropped very far down. You make a very good point there.
Something must have happened to Christensen, probably hitting a wall, getting loose off turn 2 or turn 4, I don't know.
We'll see the replay here, Seb. What goes on?
Good job on our producer to pick that up, because I don't think that would have been an easy one.
Right on board. There doesn't seem to be any immediate immediate issues. I think he's just running the high line. So yeah, you know what I think that is? I think he doesn't want to run by himself and burn all that fuel. So it's sort of a tactical thing of letting a few cars through, and unfortunately by this sense it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars that he's now got himself involved with, but he will be able to use the effect of that slipstream that you've mentioned a good few times in this race, Seb, and rightly so, because it is so important, so much so that John Christensen wants to give up around 6 or 7 seconds, excuse the joke, to Marcolini and Simpson at the front of this one, all in the hopes that he can run the car longer on fuel.
This is very interesting, because we have a lot of these guys that are Indy. I need to take that fuel tank as far as possible. And on the other side, we have Simpson, who is just burning fuel. He's burning fuel like a mad lad, and it's working fine for him, because ever since Marcomini got let down by Christensen, he's dropping from the number 3 car. So right now, I mean, still, I don't think that will cover enough for a full pit stop, but that will be very interesting to see how Matty will take on the difference in strategy.
As you can see there, flashing up on your screen, you can see the next stops are only a handful of laps around the corner. But before we get into that, if you are enjoying today's International IndyCar action around Michigan Speedway, be sure to do all of the liking, subscribing, post notifications, the ring the bell, all that kind of thing that every YouTuber tells you to do, because of course it does help us out here at Velocity Online Racing. The algorithm doesn't hand itself very kindly to smaller broadcasters, so anything you can do to help will be greatly appreciated. As we now see actually Matty Simpson making his way down pit road and stopping in the box. Everything looks fairly routine, and I wanted to bring something up, Seb, and you can sometimes get yourself too mixed up in, okay, yeah, I need to manage this, I need to manage that, I need to, go to this lap, I need to extend the fuel amount to this amount, and then all of that while you're driving around does sort of take away the focus of actually just driving the car and making it go fast. And I think that's what Matty Simpson is doing a very good job at the moment, in sort of ignoring all of the different pit opportunities and different strategies and, okay, yeah, I can do this or do that, and simply just focusing on getting the car around the circuit as fast as possible.
Exactly, and that's a good way to get by things, and also very important. You need to stick to that plan. Either you die with your plan, but you cannot be your butts between two chairs and trying to do like, oh, this isn't working, I need to switch to another strategy. You've committed, you have to do it all the way. So that's what Simpson needs to do all the race, as we have more community pitting, but that's not very surprising, Jack, considering he's been alone or at the head of his pack for the entire stint.
Yeah, he's sort of found himself in a little bit of no man's land with Markamini. He's should come out around about second once the pit cycle comes all the way through, as he finds his way back out of pit road and back onto the racing surface. And we'll see whether he can sort of pick up some draft. I think he'll catch the main group, maybe. I'm looking at the track map, and they'll be coming out of turn 2 there. You can see them in the background, so he's actually going to miss those. So it's going to be some more no man's land running for Markamini.
Jack, last lap, Amon Law, who was leader, did a 31.9. Matty Simpson did a 31.6.
Yeah, he's definitely getting the hammer down, isn't he? I was just going to point out to Amon Lowe and how much he's managed to progress back through the pack after dropping down to, I think it was about 14th or 15th position, up to second at the moment. But we are he was second, he's now fourth, but we are in the middle of a pit stop cycle, and he's actually going to lose a place there to Eftink, and Strauss is going to get very close to the rear left wheel of Amon Lowe. That would have been a little bit of a scare for both drivers, and I think that was Roden Eftink that is behind Strauss. Yes, it is. So 3 familiar names at the moment heading up this race before, no doubtedly, they all dive into pit road in what I think to be around 4 laps time, Seb.
Yeah, exactly.
As we ride on board at the moment with Roden Eftink briefly, and this is the race leader. This is Matthias Strauss. Only 3 laps led today, but I expect him to be a very strong contender if he manages to keep that car clean after that fantastic recovery off the start that he had. Saw himself go 3 wide through the middle of the 2 Altena Autosport machines to take the lead, and he gets very close to Dan Ench. I think that was onto the back straight, the closing speeds, maybe catching him a little bit off guard as he goes to the inside of the 52 machine, down in 11th place. So he's going to be a lap down the last car that's on the lead lap, and they actually that was a heart in mouth moment there for Amon Lal. My word.
Yeah, both made the speed limit, but that was almost some rear-ending action.
As we see a sort of lovely drone camera of these two coming down pit road, and does he get it stopped in the box? Yes, he does. It's going to be a battle of who can get the best sort of race start and traction out of their pit box, and it's going to be, I would say, Amon Lal won that one. I reckon he closed around half a length on the car in front, which of course is Matthias Strauss in 28, and they're going to feed right into the middle of this pack. This is going to be beautiful for these two.
Yeah, this is important. They need to absolutely get back in that pack. They want that draft, even though we saw Simpson actually putting heaters previous stint, but still good to be having a lot of drafts, a lot of help for saving fuel, and also getting by things. Oh, as That was a shaky entry. That was Noah Gill, wasn't it?
Oh my lord. Right, let me look straight to my timing screen, see if we have any black flags popping up.
No black flags.
No black flags.
Wow.
My lord, boys. How on earth have you all managed to A, get it stopped, and B, not hit each other? That is incredible stuff coming into pit road. That is a perfect example of these guys leaving absolutely nothing on the table. I think we'll get a replay of this. This is Vogelsang coming into pit road, and you can see they're all queuing up on the inside lane already, making it clear that they're coming into pit road. And just watch this. This is going to be absolutely chaotic. It's going to be pure chaos. Lockups left, right, and centre.
Well, they're not going to use these stars anymore. Might as well destroy them.
I think Vogelsang actually passed Van Gastel on the brakes into the pit road there. That was a very cheeky move there from the 26. That was perfect judgment from Vogelsang. He actually does pass the number 10 into pit road. You'll look back here from Van Gastel and watch that purple car in the background. He's going to dive on the brakes.
Oh my god.
And actually,
he almost destroyed the rear end of that ardent car.
That would not have gone down well in the drivers' chat on the Discord server after this race. I'm sure there would have been some interesting words exchanged between those two. But all jokes aside, they are teammates, so I'm sure that they'll love each other one way or another. As we still look at Matthias Strauss, he is in third place at the minute, 7 seconds behind Simpson and Marcomini once all the pit stops have shaken out. And I think it is sort of very quickly becoming a two-horse race, as the caution now makes an appearance for the first time this afternoon. And is there a car?
Callum
Ford.
Oh.
Where's he left that? Oh no. Oh my word, that is a huge accident for Callum Ford. My goodness me. Straight into the catch fence off of the slower car and goes for a gap that's not quite there and turns himself...
The gap isn't there, but...
into an aeroplane.
Yeah. The gap wasn't there, but Pascal was very slow the entirety of the race. He's 15 laps down. And I don't know if he had a car like that, but... Yeah, just completely slow. And although Caleb, he had a lot of room down there. So I would say like it's both on these drivers. Like, why is Caleb over Caleb? Yeah, I mean, I will still. I mean, again, the race stewards will decide. But Caleb had the entirety of the track down there, and he decided to choose the tiniest of gaps that wasn't even enough.
Yeah, I think.
Yes, why was the car going so slowly there? But man, my man, you had the whole track down there.
Yeah, I think that there was a bit of miscommunication, but I think the whole thing would have been avoided if Ford chose the lower side. And it looks like rush hour is underway down pit road. We've got everyone down in the pit boxes at the moment, and I don't think there's too much of a shake-up. Actually, there is. Eftink jumps Strauss to third place in the pit stops, and Vogelsang up to fifth place. Ahead of Lowell and Christensen. Gill, West, Ench is your top 10. Van Gastel getting shuffled out of the top 10, finds himself in 11th, and that beautiful 7 or 8 second gap that Simpson has built himself now completely gets eradicated, and he will have to start from ground zero with, this time, none other than Roden Eftink right behind him. Alongside him will be Marcomini, who also will probably be kicking himself a little bit for that caution, as he was also 6 seconds plus ahead of the rest of the field, although he would probably like to be a little bit closer to Simpson, and he's got his wish in that sense.
No, because he was getting closer to Simpson, and Simpson is spinning again? What in the world?
Yes, so he pits again, and I think he'll just be topping up, maybe.
Yeah, just topping up. Oh, he has a black flag, Jack. No way! Entering close pits!
Oh no, Simpson.
Oh no! You've got to
Matty
be kidding
Simpson.
me.
Oh no. It's a very easy mistake to make, and he will get an end-of-line penalty. He may have known that, and it may have been something that he was willing to take just so he can top up, thinking that maybe he can have the pace to come back through the pack once we get under green, because he has done it before. He was up
42 laps to the end, Jack. So that means 2 stints of 21 laps. There's no fuel saving. There won't be any fuel saving for this thing, Jack. It's going to be a straight-up sprint towards the end if we don't get any more cautions.
This is going to be very interesting and a full sprint to the end. But before we get things underway, hopefully we don't go green this lap, because I want to say one more word for today's sponsor, of course, brought to you by Concept Racegear, who are tearing up the supply chain for the likes of SPARCO, OMP, Stand 21. They provide the highest quality of protection and safety gear, whether you are on the circuit or whether you're on dirt or rally stage or at the Speedway. And we're going to need to turn our attention back to the Speedway, unfortunately, very quickly, because it's going to be Mark Amini who's going to lead us to the green flag. We're going to go green again as we cross the stripe for lap number 54. It's going to be 2 racing stints to the end. It's going to be full push. There's going to be no saving as Dan Ench finds himself getting jumped there. I think it was by Gill in the 76. He's going to go back to the inside line. He's going to take that one away from him, and he's actually going to go all the way to second place. Dan Ench goes all the way from 4th to 2nd ahead of Christensen and Lowell. He's going to tuck in behind Mark Amini in the 77, and he's bringing people with him. That is going to be, I want to say, no, that was Christensen, sorry, that was not Strid. Strid is down in 16th at the minute, and it's going to be Christensen, Lowell, Gill, Loverson, Saucier, F-Tink, Strauss and Gomez at the top 10.
Yeah, one thing I just remembered, Jack, as we see, like, back to the pack, you don't have any really braking zone or full lift zone at Michigan. So that means for that hybrid, you gotta be pushing that button to recharge your battery. So that will be very interesting how this will play out in the managing. Also in the final sprint, probably Dan used all of his battery, and now he has to find a way to recharge it without getting past.
Yeah, well, he's actually found himself in the lead of the race now, so Dan Ench leading the way. That's he'll be definitely very happy with that, and he'll get his points for leading a lap as Saucier now takes the lead back away from us. Dan Ench now drops, as you were saying, recharging the hybrid all the way down to 5th, 6th, almost 7th now as he finds himself on the higher line. He's going to continue to drop as the rest of the field find their way through. We did have some 3 wide a minute ago as we ride on board now with Loverson in the number 9. This is going to be 7th place for him at the moment, starting from 11th. So it's been a good day so far for Rick Loverson in the number 9 Honda. He's up a handful of places and of course looking to make some progress forward, as everyone will be, with still the best part of 2 stints left to run. As now this is Mike West. This is someone that we haven't really touched on too much so far in this race, Seb. Someone that he's definitely had a very good showing last time we covered the International IndyCar League for this season. I think it was the season opener that I was last attending. I think you may have done a couple of broadcasts in between then, but he's found himself down in that the top 10 at the moment, and he might look towards the top 6 towards the end of this one. What do you think?
Yeah, and also he needs to get up there, Jack, because right now you want to be at the head of this pack in order to be fighting for the win, because when the pit stop will come, that's going to be bad news for the guys at the back. You want to be the closest at the top here.
As we look back, this is literally everyone in your picture. This is from, I think this is the leader of the race down to about 15th place that was on your screen there. That just goes to show how tight the running is here this afternoon at Michigan. The draft is making this race almost more like a Talladega super speedway race that you'd watch in NASCAR, although there's about twice the thinking and twice the speed involved. As we now ride on board with Rodan Eftink, looking back at the driver of the number 18, these fantastic onboard cameras, of course, brought to you by today's director, none other than Julien Altena, as always. As whoa!
By the wrecking! What
I'm
on
lost for
earth was
words.
that?
I'm lost for words, Seb. What on earth is what was that came out of
What was
nowhere?
that?
Eftink did
Yes.
absolutely a fantastic job to do what he could to get out of the way, although he did lose his front wing. But what, did someone clip the apron and then just come flying back up the circuit and Mark 5? It looked like.
Okay, because Luke Dietz was marked as meatball, so we're going to have to see. Like, I'm as surprised as you. Oh yeah. Oh, what the heck was that netcode?
Eftink was lucky there not to lose his front wing, wasn't he? It did disappear on the broadcast, but it looked like it reattached itself. Luckily for him, and yeah, he did. He tagged the apron.
But Dietz, I mean, there used to be a saying that originates from VOR Aero 5 series, bringing our producer maybe a bit of flashbacks. He said lifting is a sign of weakness, but that's not right. I was going to say apron bad. Apron bad.
Yeah, it looks like he turns into the corner, realizes he's gone in a little bit too early, and steers out of the corner and has another go. And of course, by the time you've done that, when you're going 200 miles an hour, you've probably covered 25 more meters, and at that point, you've just turned in too late.
It looks like he just overreacted. Like maybe he wasn't really down there at the apron. The more I look about it, so I don't know. I would have. If it's possible for a producer, I would like to see the onboard camera of Luc Dietz to see what was his steering inputs. I'm very curious to see how it felt if he clipped the apron. And thank you. Oh yeah, maybe he just lost it by the apron because his steering inputs were pretty stable.
Yeah, he turns in here, realizes he's going too tight, turns out of it, and then when he turns again, it's just too late. And then there's the contact. And I want to point out one thing. That was an incredible save by Rodan Eftink. You could see from the offboard camera, he was completely sideways, about 2 inches from the wall, and only manages to graze the wall ever so slightly and comes away with minimal damage and really a stroke of luck. If he was a cat, he would definitely be on 8 lives by now after that one. That was a scary moment and a half for Rodan Eftink. As we're now still under the caution period, the drivers' standings after 3 rounds for season 31. You've got Noah Gill leading the way with 202, followed by Christensen, Bowles and Strid, the top 4. Miguel as well in the mix there, only 35 points behind and separating the top 5. So it is still very close as we get further towards the halfway marks. We do have a few cars coming down pit road. So these guys...
only top 2 didn't elect pit. Whoa!
Whoa! I look away from my time screen for 1 second and action is left, right, and
He missed
centre.
the pit box.
Oh no, he's going to have to do a 3-point turn
By
to
the
get
way,
the car lined up properly. He still missed it.
How the heck was his first time not... Yeah, no tires, just gas, as like Tim McQueen would say. But like, look at the laziness of his pit crew.
Yeah, that's bad when you have to do a 3-point turn to get the car lined up. He's going to need a word with the pit crew down at the number 76 garage because that was minimal stuff out of line. He barely had to adjust his car to get the guys to service it, and that is going to cost him more places than track position. That was very close, wasn't it? And then, yeah, he's lucky that we're under caution because he won't lose that much time. He'll just lose a couple of places. But nonetheless, since we're under caution for the second time this afternoon, if you're liking the look for this race so far, we can, come back to that later on, as Matthias Strauss is going to lead us to the green flag, and he's going to put pedal to the metal, and he's going to go straight to the inside. There's a massive checkup behind. We're wrecking at the back of the field, and are we under caution? Yes, we are.
Caution again.
So we can come straight back to what I was saying after we depict what on earth went on off of that restart, and I think half the field wanted to go. There was a big checkup, and Seb caught it before I did. There was a huge shunt towards the back.
Because my eyes were drawn, because I see like that accordion effect that was going on back there, Jack.
We went before the
so probably look at the space they're giving each other, Jack. That's insane.
Everyone's trying to get the run, aren't they? They're trying to time it perfectly. And
look at what it brought you, timing perfectly.
And then everyone goes, hits the brakes.
And you're...
my God.
Anthony, they weren't even going in front of you, buddy.
I think they all slammed on the brakes, and Heitzma with some fantastic driving actually to thread the needle there and make it through that. You have to salute Anthony Heitzma for that, to not get his car damaged. And you can see here, everyone sort of gets on the brakes. Yeah, Noah Gill, unfortunately, nothing but a passenger. Is this where it starts? So
probably where it starts, because Marco Mini... Oh, look at back there.
No,
Jeez.
No, it was further back.
Jeez Louise.
So it starts around Aman Lal. We'll see. I think it is someone just getting a bit too eager, Seb, and then just hitting the brakes. And then
look at the car in front. The car in front. The car in front left a bit too much of room and got caught up by the accordion effect. And that's the issue when you're not 100% behind someone. I do fall guilty of that during Velocity Online Racing races on the Saturdays.
Yeah, I think that was Fiolis in front.
Yeah. No. Oh, wow. Boom.
Then, wow. Yeah. That just caused all sorts of trouble behind. I think that was Esteban that sort of really went and then hit the brakes as an effect of Aman Lal sort of speeding up and speeding down. But nonetheless, Matthias Strauss won't be complaining for more times in the lead of this race under caution. And what I was going to say before we went back to green was, if you are watching this and you run a league of your own, and you like the look of Velocity Online's coverage here of the International IndyCar League, do not feel afraid to reach out. Velocity Online Racing can deliver professional iRacing broadcasts, providing an authentic race day experience with our custom IndyCar style overlay, which can create a clean and immersive viewing experience reminiscent of the real world motorsport broadcast, streamed in 1440p 60 fps production, and with expert commentary. Velocity Online Racing can give your series the presentation it of course deserves. Broadcast packages can start as low as €50 per hour, and if that is something that definitely sounds appealing to you, feel free to contact Velocity Online Racing at velocityonlineracing@gmail.com, of course, to even put in an inquiry and to learn some more. There is no harm in sending a message. But back to the real action of this afternoon, of course, Matthias Strauss. So 4 pit stops in, lap 14 of his stint, leads from Dan Ench, who is 15 laps into his stint. And the reason why I'm going to point this out is because everyone else, that be Mike West, Saucier, Marcamini, Christensen, Vogelsang, Fiolis, all the way down to Esteban, they are all 5 laps on their stint. So Matthias Strauss and Dan Ench will be lighter but the rest of the field will have fresher tyres and be able to go that little bit longer, Seb. And with the third caution that is going on at the moment, I think this is throwing the pit cycle completely out of the window.
It completely screwed it up. So only thing you need to know is like we have a fuel tank of 24 laps. So you want to pit at around lap 74, lap 75 in order to go to the end. That's if we're going green, of course, Jack, and it's not a given considering they've been crashing a lot.
Yeah, they need to be careful this time. Hopefully they've learned their lesson and will take things a little bit easier. But once again, it's going to be Matthias Strauss that hits the pedal, and we go straight to the inside line as we go back to green flag running. There's no checkups this time. There is some three-wide racing, though, towards the back, so that will be interesting. As we see Matthias Strauss leading the field through turn number 1. Everything seems to be okay. We sort of go into single file running pretty quickly here on lap 68. And the rest of the field towards the back still squabbling for some positions left, right and centre. I think that is the likes of Anthony Heitzmer, David Strid, Aman Lal in there as well. Towards the front of this pack, you can see John Christensen getting a bit eager to the inside line, trying to make some progress. He's going to start challenging for that 4th place, and it's going to be Bryce Saucier that hits the front for the first time today, takes the lead away from Matthias Strauss, but I don't think that's going to sit that way for very long, as Matthias Strauss is going to hit the hybrid boost button and blast past Bryce Saucier to retake the lead of this race. And look who's in third, Mike West. We said that he would find his way towards the top 6, and he finds himself in 2nd place at the moment, trying to defend off the likes of Christensen and Marcomini.
Yeah, now expect a lot more battles. This is MONIT time here, Jack. They're going to be fighting for that track position. They want to be at the head of the pack. Reminder, they don't have enough fuel to go to the end. Not all of those drivers need to pit at least. Oh, look at Marcomini there.
Yeah, Marcomini under fire from Van Gastel, that was, who comes storming around the outside, makes a mockery of the other drivers to the inside line. We can see Van Gastel obviously using the slipstream to good effect to kind of walk his car around the outside to 4th place. He's going to slot in ahead of the 77, which we are looking from the rear view wing of. And you can really see here the two lines that are really starting to form. It's almost a bit like what it is like NASCAR with the way that this pack race is forming, but they don't stay behind each other through the corners, and that is for the effect of the dirty air. You can see that the wings really don't look like much, Seb, but they really do provide more than enough downforce to keep these things sucked to the ground like rocket ships.
I mean, look at how they packed they are. I mean, they produce too much downforce, Jack. Or not enough power. Those engines do not provide enough power.
Yeah, they're able to take this circuit easily flat out the entire way around, which is what is providing us with this incredible racing. And you can see there, let me have a look at the timing tower. I reckon it is around about the top 8 or more, actually. I think we're sort of pushing more towards the top 10 that are literally within about half a second of each other. And then it's really only about 2/10, and then you've got the second half of the pack. So this is going to be a really, really good finish. Anyone that you see on screen here is in with a shout of winning. As we can see, 3 wide now as we get towards the business end of this race. It's going to be Van Gastel that makes the lane in the middle, and it's going to be Strauss that still holds the lead. He's going to try and bring Saucier through with him, who's on the inside line. You can see there, I think that's West tucking in to the inside line. He sees an opportunity to get behind Saucier, and it's still going to be 2 lanes. That top 3rd lane, I believe, is going to be led by, I want to say that's Fiolis, but I could well be wrong. That sort of lost its momentum a little bit more as we now ride on board with the nose cone of Saucier. That's Marcomini to our right-hand side. He's going to find his way back up into 4th position, and Christensen is now going to round out the podium with Van Gastel and Strauss. Strauss is doing a fantastic job to keep everyone at bay for the moment, and that is the 3rd lane still trying to be made by who is that? I think that is Fiolis, but I could well be wrong. I'll need to check a spotter's guide for that quickly, but Seb, this is looking like a fantastic finish that we've got coming our way.
Yeah, oh my god. Right now, they're not even saving any of their stuff, Jack. Right now, it's a race to go to the top. So that wasn't for the Heitzma. Yeah, that wasn't Brian, because
Sorry.
Brian has a very recognizable pin car.
Yeah, that's my mistake. It's Anthony Heidsma. It's a driver that I've not covered too much recently. Heidsma has had a break from the broadcast that I've been covering, but he's definitely trying to make something work on the outside line. It's not really doing him many favours at the moment, as he sort of tucks in and maybe tries to find his way towards the inside, or is it we going to go through the middle? No, we're not. We're sort of gonna sit around and sort of
Strauss pitting.
hang on a little bit. There's someone into the pits. That's Strauss. Yes, so Strauss pits, and Heidsma is actually a lap down, so that's why he's trying to be so aggressive here to try and get his lap back. But no one pits with Strauss. Strauss pits by himself, Seb. That's going to be big.
That's bad news for Strauss. That's a lot of bad news. But as we saw, I think there were only 2 cars that didn't pit at the last caution, or 2 cautions ago. So yeah, for Strauss, that is far from ideal.
He's got...
Whoa!
That was Christensen coming into pit lane, and Vogelsang nearly made his IR18 into I don't know, maybe a baby IR18, made it about 3 inches shorter almost. That was a very, very close moment, almost very similar to the one that we had with Callum Ford earlier on. And you can see that bright blue car comes to the inside, and almost...
And that was by his teammate, by the way. Another car.
We thought it was close with Vogelsang.
Yeah, you'd think that they are in the same chat, and Vogelsang knows that Christensen is pitting, but apparently not. Julien, you may need to work on your driver's communications there.
Yeah, I think these guys, based off interviews that we've had in the past with the Altena Autosport drivers, they don't tend to sit in the same call, I don't think. I think they tend to sort of do their own thing and then have a debrief after the race. But yeah, we thought it was close with Vogelsang, but Roland Eftink almost using his teammate as a ramp to go to the moon as he dives into pit road. And this is Bryce Saucier. He is the current leader of this race, and it almost looks like the lap after a safety car restart. We've still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars on screen at the minute, all fighting for the lead of this race before we see cars dive into the pits. And it's actually going to be, I think that's David Strid that is at the head of this one, but he is still a lap down, so that is sort of a complete anomaly. We ride on board with Matty Simpson, such a dominant race leader before the first caution, and having to get his end of line penalty, and he's going to be wanting to make some progress, so watch out for that car. That is going to be the which number is he again? Let me find that. Matty Simpson. That is going to be the number 3, so keep an eye out for that number 3 car as he tries to make some progress in the white Monster Energy car. But Seb, there's too much to cover here.
Yeah, no, like this is they're going, by the way, at 225 miles per hour in rush hour traffic. So you're going to see a big one. There's bound to be a big one by the end of this race, Jack. I'm calling it.
Yeah, you could see Heidsma in particular getting very close to those around him. He's not got much to lose being a lap down, and you can see that he's being very aggressive with his driving at the moment to try and get to the front of this and make his lap back. It's going to be almost 4 wide into turn number 3. Boys, let's not go there now. We've still got a good few laps to go. And the last few times we've covered the International IndyCar League, we've finished under safety car. I would absolutely love for it to be a green flag finish this time. Heidsma thinks better of it. Looks this time to the outside of the lead cars and finds nothing of it just yet. But Van Gastel, as we so often see him, just lurking in the wings, waiting for stuff to happen so he can pick his way through.
And Gastel lifting by the end of the straight, probably using that that regen button, or just staying undercover, waiting for the right moment to strike and get up to the lead.
Yeah, we've seen Van Gastel so many times in the past in the Velocity Online Racing League. Last season, he'd been lurking in the wings numerous amounts of times, sort of not really doing too much and picking up the pieces for good results here and there. And once again, we see him finding his way sort of in the middle of the pack, sort of towards the rear end of it, just sort of lurking out to see what's going on. Saucier down to pits.
Now, that would be very interesting, Jack. Will he take tires or not?
So that's 22 laps for Saucier, and he's by himself.
11 laps. 11 laps to do.
Yes, 11 laps left to do, but 22/23 to get in that previous stint. And he comes down pit road with, again, no one in support. So Saucier is going to be by himself again, and Van Gastel and Vogelsang will come down together. So this is the first duo we've seen in this cycle that have come down together. So we'll be able to get a direct comparison, these guys, to the rest of the pack that have come down by themselves. And I reckon that these guys are looking in a favourable position at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Now I'm wondering, tires or no tires? No tires.
No tires. The
And
car
that's
doesn't go up
bad.
on jacks.
That's bad news for like all the people, the two people that pitted very early because they had to take tires because they had a long fuel, because they had to put nearly the entirety of the fuel cell, the entirety of the fuel tank, fill it entirely. I'll make sure. Anyway, that means they're getting time on their pit stops because they don't have to fill that full tank.
My word, look at this melee that's going on into turn number 3. I think we've got a queue of cars there on the inside looking to come into pit road. That is, who's dropping down? That's Marcomini, and no, that's Heitzmer, sorry, who's coming into pits at the moment. But one thing I want to point out is that 4-second pit stop from Milan Vogelsang. That is 4.4 seconds stationary in the pit box, and Roden Eftink, as an example, for those that pitted just nearly 3 laps, 2 laps before Vogelsang did, 8 seconds stationary in the pit box. So it's 4 seconds compared to 8 seconds.
Does he have a black flag?
Strid, it does have
a
black flag.
And Noah Gill too. But Noah Gill, I think, has been in the pits for a while now.
He's been in the pits for a while, I think. But I wonder what that's for David Strid. Not a race that he will want to remember.
Probably.
It's not been a good day for the likes of David Strid or Jason Lowe, both getting speeding penalties in this race, which have really hurt their performances. Started 6th, currently 11th. Jason Lowe, as there's a big shunt, smoke flies everywhere. There's cars falling down the asphalt. Marcomini is involved. Jason Lowe is not involved. He makes his way through. We ride on board with Jason Lowe at the moment. Everything looks fine on the 004 machine, but Seb, walk us through this one. What on earth has gone on here?
Yeah, I see a Valvoline car. I think that was probably Luc Dietz that got involved in this, Marcomini.
Riding on board with Manuel Gomez Esteban. This is the current dominant driver in the Indy Next official series that we cover here on the Velocity Online Racing Series, and this is at the front of the pack. And is there going to be contact here? We go into turn number 3.
There's a car right in the wall there.
So it's already happened. So it didn't involve Gomez, so he gets through okay. It's the couple of cars. I think they may have been lapped cars.
Yes. What on earth happened there?
So it's still 3 wide. Everything looks okay for the moment. Do we get a hit from the side? Yes, we do. And oh my word, okay. Marcomini couldn't really do much there, could he?
Also, why is Dietz walking like that? What the heck?
He lost it himself. He lost it himself, I think. A very small twitch.
Yeah.
Mid-corner, and he's gone to correct the slide. Yep. And just tagged him round, and there we go. Massive, massive accident there for Dietz in the 992. Unfortunately, that Valvoline machine will probably not be going any further in this one.
That's unfortunate for him.
Yeah, I feel I do feel for Marcomini there. It wasn't intentional from Dietz, although it does look like it the way he suddenly spears up the racetrack. But the smallest slides here, it's almost a micro slide, but you do need to correct it. And just tags Marcomini and unfortunately ends both of their races. And that's the dangers that you have to play with, especially on a circuit like Michigan, where you don't really need to be lifting to get round the corners. When you do have a sideways moment at 200 plus miles an hour, it takes a long time to sort it out in terms of distances. It all happens in a matter of a few hundredths of a second, but when you are going so quickly, the distance you cover while correcting said slide is massive, and unfortunately Mark Amini is a victim of that.
So we're going to get like a full lap shootout here, Jack. So that means if we're getting another caution, if it happens immediately, maybe we'll get another 1 lap shootout. But yeah, that would be the final moments of this race here, Jack.
Well, hopefully we can actually get our 4-lap shootout this time, and we don't get another safety car or caution period like we have done in previous races. But looking forward for things to come, the ICOS Euro Soft Race, that will be the coverage of the IndyCar Open Series Euro SOF race, brought to you by Velocity Online Racing. That is solely for the iRacing IndyCar community, and if you do feel like supporting those guys over there for what they do in the Euro Soft Race, please do consider going over to their GoFundMe to show your support for that. But apart from that, it will be the Indy NXT iRacing series. That's the official series that Gomez, currently sat in 8th, is so dominant in at the moment. That will be at Nashville on July 28th at 9 p.m. Central European time. We then have the Indy Euro series on July 22nd at Portimao. That will be interesting, a road course for them. And then they go to Mugello on the 29th of July. And then, of course, VOR race day number 1. That will be August the 1st, and that will be at 8 o'clock Central European time, with the NXT cars on at 5 p.m. But with 4 laps to go, that's a long way off, but we have not got a long way to go in this race. It's going to be Marlon Vogelsang from Rodan Eftink from John Christensen that's going to lead the way to the 5 to go mark. It's going to be Vogelsang that leads the way. We get things back under go. We're green flag racing for 4 laps here at the Michigan Speedway, and he catches the rest of the pack sort of napping a little bit. Vogelsang is 2/10 ahead of Eftink. Eftink stays with him quite beautifully, but Christensen is 6/10 back. It's going to be Eftink that makes the move almost immediately. They could be starting to swap draft these two, but Vogelsang, I don't think he's very accustomed to it, is he, Seb? He's back on the inside.
There's no swap
the
drafting here, Jack. There's no swap drafting. Right now, you want to stay in the lead. You want to keep that lead. There's no teamwork anymore, or maybe if you're 2 in the same team, but right now you want that win, and here comes John Christensen.
Christensen finds the middle of the 2 cars. He's going to find his way past his teammate in the likes of Rodan Eftink. It's going to be Velocity Online Racing against Vogelsang, and here comes Saucier. We've got a number of different drivers now getting themselves involved, and as these guys bunch themselves up and find 2 different lanes, that's only going to get more cars involved. Saucier tries to find his way to the middle. Lau goes to the outside. It's going to be Christensen and Lau on the high side. Lau's going to go even higher than Christensen to try and keep the grip in that machine. Dan Ench is going to get himself involved in 6th place. He gets past the man Lau up into 5th place. John Christensen drops to 4th. Saucier up to 3rd. And here comes Jason Lowe. Oh my word, what a run that was.
He's back on the lead lap, so he's fighting for that win.
It's going to be a 1-lap shootout. We're going to go white flag this time around. Who's going to get it first to the stripe at Michigan? The final lap of the Michigan 190 round 3 of the International IndyCar League. It's going to be Marlon Vogelsang who starts this one in the lead. It's going to be Eftink who takes it onto the back straight. We ride on board with Dan Ench. We ride on board now with Rodan Eftink. It's going to be 3 wide almost. It's going to be Eftink who still leads the way. It's going then. Here comes Christensen, and then look at that, Saucier to the high side. We have a crash in the background, but it is going to be Rodan Eftink. No one is going to beat Rodan Eftink to the line. Oh, it is 45 thousandths of a second. Bryce Saucier loses out by the equivalent of about someone's pinky finger.
That was a mad dash, and Rodan made the right blocks at the right time.
That was what the grandstand finish that we have been stolen or been scammed of in the last 2 races we have covered. There was a numerous car incident behind, but Roden Eftink manages to keep his head cool and bring it home. John Christensen, and look at this run from Bryce Saucier off of turn 4. There's 2 separate accidents that actually take place, isn't there? Well, 3 separate accidents that take place.
The entirety of the grid decided to wipe itself out.
No one wanted to give way. So this is the first.
Here, Vogelsang trying to try something on Easting, but you had Christensen blocking him, and he tried to force a door open. And look at this! Right now, they're crossing the start-finish line. So...
Yeah, they're crossing the start-finish line as if they were fidget spinners, weren't they? And this is
That's not something the stewards are going to like from a Mon Lol.
Yeah, that doesn't make Aman Lal look very favourable in the eyes of the stewards, does it? He tries to tuck back in that Saucier in front that goes high, and
it's coming home in poor shape.
Yeah, that's not ideal there. And Dan Ench, I do feel for him a little bit. He was on for a very good result there, and unfortunately the contact really stripped that away from him as he gets absolutely pile-drived by Anthony Eitzmer. That was Jesus, that was that was quite the accident or secondary impact there for Dan Ench. And then we look at the third incident, which is Jason Lowe, and I think that might have been Matthias Strauss. And oh my God, Strauss tagged someone else, didn't he?
Strauss was in the pits ever since the restarts.
Oh, was it? So who was that? That would have been Mike West then, wouldn't it?
Probably.
And then bang!
Wow.
My word, David Schrid does some aerobatics. That will be a photo and a half. I'd wonder if someone get a photo of David Schrid upside down across the finish line. That's quite impressive. Bang!
Wow!
There you go.
So, if we have some meme lords out there, clip this David Schrid crash and put the peppy hair do barrel roll over it. That's insane.
That is, wow. That would make that's definitely a photo for the mantelpiece. If you ever get one of that, look at this, wham, boom, and he's actually the right way up as he crosses the finish line, I think.
Yeah.
Or near enough, anyway.
Yeah, before bouncing back on the aero screen.
Yeah, look at that.
Wow.
It's more like the Red Bull Air Race, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's and then obviously sliding on his roof. That's probably not the nicest part of that one after bouncing. I'm sure his spine would have had a bit of a compression if he was sat in the real car after literally doing a barrel roll over the start finish line. Anyway, nonetheless, I think probably one of the most entertaining IICL races we've had to date, at least that I've covered here at Michigan Speedway, and that's definitely somewhere I'd love to come back to. Seb, I think this was really something quite special.
Oh yeah, I mean that was very fun to watch. The strategy difference, the dogfighting, although maybe some bit of silly shenanigans, especially with some of the starts out there. But that we have for our money, and again, Jack, it's very good to see 20 car counts. It's we're having much more things to talk about during those races with 20 car counts than when we have 7 cars and they're all following each other. So that's very good to see.
Yeah, that was quite the race. Anyway, we'll get the results coming your way after having a look at that rather dramatic finish to the Michigan 190. It's going to be Roden Eftink that beats out Bryce Saucier by 45 thousandths of a second. It's going to be a fantastic result for Manuel Gomez Esteban, stepping up from the Indy Next car to bring it home in the podium places. Very well done to him. Pim van Gastel comes away with another fantastic result. Matty Simpson, such a strong contender at the start of this one, ends up 5th. John Christensen in the 44 comes 6th from David Strid, Mike West, Milan Vogelsang and Jason Lowe rounds out the top 10.
And following the second part of the standings, Matthias Ezekiel Marcomini, after that scary wreck with Luc Dietz, finishes in 11th. Behind him will be Anthony Heitzma and Rick Lawson finishes in 13th. Brian Field was a ghost during this race, and he finishes in 14th position ahead of poor Dan Ench that got completely destroyed out of turn 4. Mon Laut also involved in that final turn wreck will finish 16th in front of Noah Gill, the championship leader, probably losing a lot of ground to John Christensen. Caleb Ford finishes in 18th in front of Matthias Strauss, and Luke Dietz completes the top 20.
And then it was Pascal Fiolas and Ryan Bowles, I believe, 2 drivers that didn't make the start, coming 21st.
They made the starts, they just retired early.
Oh, do excuse me.
Bowles didn't take the starts, but Fiolas did.
Anyway, nonetheless, we do have one driver that is in the interview waiting room at the minute. We did have 2, but I believe Rodan Efting, our race winner, needed to go somewhere. But we do have the second place finisher, nonetheless, Bryce Saucier, waiting for us in the interview room. We'll get him in the call right now. Bryce, second place today, losing out by 45 thousandths of a second. Just walk us through how that last 4-lap shootout panned out for you.
Yeah, I was surprised I got back up to second at the end there. Thought on the backstretch when they were 3 wide and covering the whole racetrack, I didn't think we were going to go very far, but I got to run through 3 and 4 and dumped the hybrid and went to the top, and then everybody kind of exploded behind us. So I'm getting good at this, losing by half a car length.
Yeah, no, I really thought that run out of the last corner was going to be something magical. You seem to have a massive amount of speed, but just as soon as you pulled out from Christensen in front, I think it was, it sort of almost stalled out for you in that sort of sense. But nonetheless, I think this is the first Nicholas Pressey motorsports driver that I've seen in international IndyCar racing for quite a while, actually. But is this the start of a new venture for the team?
I've been trying to start some. I ran some last year, trying to run close to full time this year as much as I can. But so it was a good race, good result. Led a few laps. Finally caught a break. Haven't been able to buy a break in this league, so nice to finally get a good result.
Yeah, you were definitely up in the mix for the most part of that one, and of course it's fantastic to see a good strong result for you, and congrats on the second place. But before we let you go, Seb, do you have anything for Bryce?
I have one question. It's more about how the race happened. What were your fuel strategies during that race?
Well, I was trying to save. I was going to be close. I think I was the number exactly it would have been, like running out in turn 1 before we had the string of caution. So it would have been really close for me. But I was going to try to save it at the stop.
Gotcha.
Well, before we let you go, are there any team or personnel, sponsors, family members that you'd like to give a quick mention to, obviously, before we let you go about your Sunday?
Big thanks. Nick, number 1, does a lot for me. Taught me a lot about these cars, so big thanks to him. My grandmother watches all the races, thanks to her. And then my parents put up with me in the corner of the living room, hooting and hollering every day. So.
Yeah, I think we can all relate to pissing off the parents and family members every now and then with our shouting and screaming over sim racing. But nonetheless, it was all worth it today. A fantastic result for you, Bryce. P2 here at Michigan Speedway, and hopefully we'll see you back on the podium again very soon. That was Bryce Saucier, P2 in the Michigan 190 for round 3 of the International IndyCar League. And we do have one more actually waiting in the interview room. The race winner has made his return to the waiting room. We're going to get him in at the moment. This is Rodan Efting, today's race winner, winning out by 45 thousandths of a second. And I want to just ask you the question of how did you know where to put that car to make that place, to make that win come across the line when you had about 15 cars challenging you there on the last lap?
Yeah, thank you. To be honest, I don't even know anymore. It's just absolute chaos until the end, and I was just trying to use my hybrid in a smart way. And I guess because John was trying to go on the outside of Milan on the last corner, he couldn't use his hybrid, which gave me the advantage to just win this race, because this was absolute chaos.
Yeah, no, the race was, it seemed to sort of pan out okay at the start of the race, and then sort of as we got towards the end, chaos seemed to ensue, and cautions breed cautions, don't they, that famous saying. But I want to bring it back to the start of the race, because it sort of looked that you didn't quite look as strong as you did at the start of the race as you did at the end of the race, if that's sort of fair to say. I think that as the race went on, you sort of settled into it a lot more. And was that from a strategic standpoint, or was that sort of, it took you a little bit of time to get back into this Michigan Speedway?
No, it was all about the fuel save from the beginning. So when we had those cautions, I think the first one towards the middle of the race, it changed the race completely, where we didn't have to save fuel anymore. But we had to make an extreme fuel number, and that's why I think you saw some people really slow down on the straights. And at some point, we were like maybe lapping 2 seconds slower to what the leaders were doing on full pace. So it's interesting. Maybe something that needs to be looked at by the league, because if we're gonna run these small fuel tanks, you're going to have this at every, super speedway or Michigan-esque kind of track. So overall, I think it worked out for me, but it's just going to be pure chaos always.
Yeah, I think that it was definitely interesting to see the way that a couple of guys at the front of the race earlier on leading the way by, I think it was a best part of 7 odd seconds. And I really thought that was going to be the race done and dusted. But Seb, is there anything that you have for Rodin before we close out?
So one thing that caught my attention during your first question is, what did you mean by John couldn't use his hybrid?
No, it wasn't John. Milan was behind me because I overtook him on the back straight, and then John kind of closed him in on the bottom behind me, and that's why Milan saved his hybrid, I think, on the back stretch. And when he wanted to use it out of the last corner, he couldn't because John was there. Kind of my savior.
Yeah. We did see John taking one for the team behind
could
you.
Could have been a good team result. Sadly, they crashed it towards the end, but
they still finished sixth.
Yeah, well, that's still good. He kept his foot down, I guess.
Yeah, there was definitely some interesting finishes. I think we had David Strode finishing the race upside down across the start-finish line, so
nice.
Some aerobatics being done there. But before we let you go, is there anyone you would like to say thank you to, shout out for sponsors or team members or anyone that is close to you?
Of course, everyone on the Velocity Online Racing team, and the sponsor of this race, of course, the admins, everyone that makes these races possible. So also you guys, the broadcast team, Julien. Just a big thank you to you all for doing this every week.
Well, it's something that we definitely enjoy doing nonetheless. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Rodin Eftink, today's winner of the Michigan 190 with only 5 laps led. That is the perfect example of how crazy things were today. That is going to be a fantastic result for him moving forward, and we'll start the next race from the back of the field. So then, Seb, I think that we can definitely look forward to what is to come in the International IndyCar League. I think that it's something that, especially after today, is making me excited for the next broadcast. Unfortunately, the next race is not broadcasted for the International IndyCar League, and instead we will bring you the fantastic action which will be coming from the Euro soft race for the IndyCar Open Series, and that will be coverage of course, the IndyCar Open Series Euro soft race that is brought to you by Velocity Online Racing Series for the iRacing community. If you fancy supporting that cause, the GoFundMe can be found in various Discord and YouTube links if that is something that you would like to do. And that will be coming your way on July the 14th. That will be round 4 of 12 for 2026 season 3 over at Nashville. But in terms of International IndyCar League action, we'll get the schedule coming your way very quickly. But yeah, I think that soft race, that Euro soft race, will be rather interesting to watch. I definitely urge you to go and give that a watch if you can. But in the meantime, once again, I'd like to say thank you so much to today's race sponsor, which is the Concept Racegear. They are specialized motorsport experts stocking an extensive range of premium gear for your sim racing needs. Everything from SPARCO to OMP to Stand 21. These brands set the absolute worldwide standard for quality, innovative design and elite craftsmanship. When you are on the limit, you definitely don't need to compromise on your safety or on your lap times. You need to demand the best. This is the schedule for the rest of the season. So we are currently at round 4, which is Michigan. Twin Ring Motegi comes next, followed by Echo Park Speedway Atlanta. None of those will be broadcasted, but we will join you again on the 2nd of August for round 7 at Daytona International Speedway. This, I think, was the perfect warm-up for another super speedway event coming your way then. That is then followed by Las Vegas a week after, which is not broadcasted. But in terms of today's broadcast, that is all from me. I've been Jack James. Alongside me, as always, Sébastien Kinder and the broadcast director, Julien Altena. Thank you so much for joining us for today's action at Michigan. Take it easy. Enjoy the Sundays that wherever you may be in the world, whether it's hot or cold, it is certainly boiling hot for me. And we'll join you on the 14th of July for the Euros Indy Open soft race. Until then, take it easy. We'll catch you later. Goodbye.